today. We're going to look back to Saturday night's Champions League final in Madrid. Two English clubs, Liverpool and Spurs. It was a terrible match, but Liverpool walked away with the Champions League win. It's a win I think many people feel they deserved. They've had a magnificent season, and I'm joined now by John Giles to discuss it. John, must have been Liverpool's worst performance of the season. A terrible match. Of course, the big thing that will be remembered is Liverpool are champions of Europe, and I think they deserve to be. Do you?
Yeah, definitely, Eamon. I think they deserve to win the match. As you say, it wasn't a spectacle for the neutrals. But don't mention that to Liverpool supporters. You know, when you're a Liverpool supporter or a Leeds supporter in my day, Eamon,
yeah,
don't care how you win.
Yeah,
you know, they won, and that's it. And it's you don't just win it on the day. It's a long haul to win a competition like that. I'm a neutral, as you know. I didn't enjoy the match as a match, but you have to relate to the supporters.
Yeah,
they don't care whether it's a bad match or that. They win, and that's all they're there to do. I mean, I played in matches for Leeds, vital matches where we didn't play well.
Yeah,
but we won.
Yeah,
you know, like I played in the League Cup the first time they ever won a trophy against Arsenal. I mean, in 1968, it was a terrible match.
Yeah,
terrible match. It was rubbish. But we won.
Yeah,
and the crowd's going home singing and dancing and that. That's all. What they say is, look, we could have played great and lost. What good is that to us?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I can remember Liverpool playing Roma in the Champions League final. I think it went to penalties in the end, and Liverpool won. And Graham Souness was saying on Saturday night, you know, it wasn't a great game either. I can remember it being a pretty average game, and I can remember other finals that were pretty average as well. We've had some great finals and some average finals. There's been lots of theories about why the game never lit up, never took off. One, of course, in my own belief, is that Liverpool couldn't get their head around being winning up so early and didn't know how to press on and manage the game from there, keep the intensity. The other, of course, people were saying there was 3 weeks. These teams hadn't played for 3 weeks, and maybe that had an effect on them. The heat was another reason advanced. What's your own take on it, John? Particularly on the fact that a 1-0 lead in the first minute, with all the pressure that was on Liverpool as favourites, unsettled them.
Well, I think it did, Eamon, but it shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't.
As we know, I mean, we made a joke before saying with the Irish team, you know, we scored too early.
Yeah.
Well, there's a very simple solution to that. Don't score early. So, like, scoring early is a bad thing in that theory. But anyway, to get back to that, I think, you know, when they did score early, they definitely tried to shut up shop or got negative on it. Because Alexander, who takes the corner kick, Simon, it was taking him about a half hour to take the corner kick after that.
Yeah, and that was
wins.
Yeah, even after about 20 minutes, Alexander-Arnold was sort of looked as if he was trying to waste time. This is mad stuff.
Well, before the 20 minutes, Eamon.
Yeah.
Even straight after the goal, he started doing that.
Yeah.
Now, well, I'll tell you, my theory on it, Eamon, you have to go back to the manager on that.
Yeah.
And what do you say to the manager? Did you tell them to do that? He said no. But the big question is, did you tell him not to do it?
Yeah.
See, he's been there for 4 years, Eamon.
Yeah.
The Champions League and all the various matches, you establish things very, very early. In other words, if we get a goal early on, don't start dropping back. Be positive. Go for it, go for it, go for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's leadership in the manager. So that it frees the players. Because what great managers do, Eamon, they take the responsibility, and it frees players to go and express themselves.
Yeah.
And if they give a goal away, like you played under, Matt Busby was there. Matt Busby was great at that. If we were winning 2-1 or 1-0 at Manchester United, Eamon, and you were going for the second goal, and they scored to make it, Busby said, don't worry about that. If we get into that position, you do the same thing. That's what I want you to do. So we frees you to do it. Now, in Klopp's case, he obviously hasn't freed them. Now, whether it was conscious or not conscious, I don't know.
Well, the thing that makes it interesting is that the normal way, when you see Liverpool, they are quick. They do get on the ball. You know Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold. people like that, they are alert, very alert. They restart the game quickly and they go. I think that the factor you've got to sort of reflect on here is the pressure that was on Liverpool. That team needs a trophy. They'd had such a long sort of battle with Manchester City in the league. Yeah. They were favourites. I mean, Tottenham, had Harry Kane coming back. We'll come to that. But basically, I think Klopp himself, this was his 7th final. He'd lost the previous 6. The club, it's a long, long time since 2005 when they won in Istanbul. I think the pressure on Liverpool was huge on Saturday night. They didn't talk about it, and you couldn't see it in Klopp's demeanour before the game. But I thought the game showed that the most important thing here was getting across the line.
Yeah, but Damien, I understand what you're saying, and it's a point. I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
But the only way you get past the line is to do the right things.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is he's been there for 4 years. Of course there's pressure. There's pressure everywhere. Everything is psychological. Golf is everything. So when the manager has to release the players of that, they have to be driven from day one. I know, and you say, well, they haven't won a trophy. Of course it brings pressure.
No, but what I'm saying to you is from day one in the Premier League games and indeed against Barcelona and in the semi-final, all the things you say the coach should be doing, he has been doing. What was different on Saturday night?
Well, I don't know.
All I think it's obvious.
You don't know what he's saying to them before the match, Eamon. If you see against Barcelona and Barcelona, for example, they had to win 4-0. They had to score 4 goals. That does release you from doing it. But when you get into a position where it's of course it's a big game and everybody is nervous but these are all international players and it's the manager that frees them to do it. He says no, whatever. Of course, there's pressure on us. There's pressure on me. There's pressure on everybody. But what I'm saying is, when we get a goal early on, I don't worry about the pressure. I'll take the pressure.
Yes.
You get out and play. That's what frees them.
It's interesting as well that I thought when he got them in at half time, there would be a transformation. I thought they would come out in the second half. They'd up the intensity to their normal level, and they do play with intensity, but it didn't happen. No, it just didn't, Eamon, because, again, if you're talking about the manager situation, now I think Klopp has done a great job. I'm not being critical. He has done a great job, there's no question.
He's done a great job with Liverpool, but if you're talking about these situations, you do it from day one. You don't just do it on the day. You don't do it just at half time. You say, this is what we do from day one. This is what we do. And he has done it. So there's no reason why. I know there's more pressure on the Champions League, but that's habit day in, day out for 4 years. That you take it in your stride. And of course you're nervous. Everybody's nervous going into it. But that's why you're a professional footballer. Especially for all the top players right now. You want to play in these matches. You want the pressure. Yeah. And you go with it.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen because there were signs, and we spoke during the match, of throw-ins from the first minute.
Yep.
Taking their time as if we're going, and that's the way they played. And that goes through the team.
Yeah, and
right. But I think the manager beforehand says, "Look, this is a big match. I'm responsible. I'm the manager. I'm responsible. But when we go out to play, we play. If we get a goal front early on, from day one, you do that as manager, Eamon. And he's been brilliant doing it. There's no reason that I can see that they couldn't do it on the day. There's lots of different things on the day, but they just stopped playing.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't be the first team not to do it in a Champions League final or in a big game when there's so much at stake. It's the only, everything you say is right, but the problem from your perspective is this: if they do it all the time anyway, and Klopp encourages all the time and does exactly with his team what you say he should do with his team, why was it different on Saturday? And what I'm proposing to you is it was different because I think they've had a long time to think about this. They needed a prize this season. They needed a trophy. And I think that was deep in them. There was a... of course it was in them, and that is a pressure. Yeah.
To do it. But pressure is pressure. You have to... The only way you handle pressure is to go and do what you do, which is good. Why, for example, did Alexander start wasting time from the corner kicks?
I think myself that they were prepared for a tough game against a decent side that they've had tough games with this season, actually, particularly the game at Anfield, where they were lucky to get the 3 points. Lloris made a blunder and Sissoko missed the sitter. So I think mentally they were prepared for a hard slog. I think all of a sudden they get a gift in the first minute, and I think they didn't quite know or weren't able as a group to push on from there and go for a second. I think they were caught a bit like rabbits in the headline. And of course, the thing I suppose we have to factor in that we haven't factored in so far is Spurs' response to the goal. And they did pick it up. They had more possession, but they're big players. I mean, Trippier is good on the ball, hopeless defending, but Harry Winks in midfield did okay, and they were able to play their way into Liverpool's half. But then the big players you'd expect, Harry Kane, he never really produced. Eriksen didn't produce. Dele Alli didn't produce. And the players that they needed someone to produce, but the final pass let them down time after time. And of course, Liverpool defended quite well. The Harry Kane situation, you said on Friday when we talked that you didn't think he should start, and Pochettino decided to start him, which was understandable, but probably in retrospect, a mistake.
Well, it's easy to be wise afterwards. I mean, he didn't play well at all, but he wasn't the only player.
No.
You're talking about Spurs, first of all, coming back into the game. I didn't think Spurs played well themselves, Eamon, back into the game. Dele Alli was terrible. Harry Kane didn't get a kick at the ball. Eriksen was nowhere as well. So it wasn't as if Spurs switched it on.
No.
And just that Liverpool kept giving the ball away.
Yeah.
And let them do. But anyway, to get back to the Harry Kane situation, as I said before, because it didn't make sense to me, Eamon, there's either match fitness or there isn't match fitness. And when you see the players, when they finish the season, they only have about 6 weeks break then.
Yes.
From that. So they're coming back and they have to play all these friendly matches to get match fit.
Yeah.
Right? Harry Kane was out for 2 months.
Yeah.
Which was longer than the break to get in the summer.
Yes.
And he's coming straight back into the game.
Yeah.
Into a big match like that. So my theory on Harry Kane and Spurs is, actually, I think he has too much power.
Yeah.
Harry Kane with the manager. Because again, if you go back to the semi-final, Eamon, when they played in Amsterdam, when they were 1 down, apparently, reading the papers, Harry Kane gave the players a right bollocking.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Now, Harry Kane wasn't playing; he was injured.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, you played under him. I played with say Busby and Revy. If any of the players tried to give a speech at half time, to be told, get out of the dressing room. This is my job. This is what I do.
Yeah.
So when it came, I think, to whether he picked him, it was a very difficult decision for Pochettino. I think Harry's personality or
his dominance in the club.
Dominance in the dressing room would have swayed that, because he would have said, I want to play.
Yeah.
And that's only my theory on it. So I think he went against his better judgment, and it just didn't make sense that this player is a terrific player. Everybody wants him to play. But the thing was with Spurs, Eamon, the 2 lads that came in really did their stuff.
Yeah.
When Kane couldn't play.
Yeah.
And they were match fit. So that would be. And I think we spoke this before him at the start of the season. You mentioned it to me. Harry Kane is always known as being a slow starter.
Yes.
So this was a new season starting for Harry Kane, virtually. So it's going to take. But anyway, he didn't get a kick at the ball, but he wasn't the only one. I mean, Spurs were very, very, very disappointed in the fact that Liverpool backed off.
Yeah.
And they didn't really take advantage of it. I know they had a lot of passes and that. Yeah. And the keeper made a couple of good saves in the second half. But really, Dele Alli was terrible. Eriksen never kicked the ball. Harry Kane wasn't good. It's very difficult to win a match when 3 of your major players are not playing on the day.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it from the Spurs angle.
Yeah. And you've got to think of Lucas Moura, who scored a hat-trick in Amsterdam against Ajax in the semi-final. He's left out. He's got pace. As you say, he's fit. He's got pace. There's no doubt about him, and he's a player even when he came on for the last 25 minutes, he was troublesome. But there are calls that have to be made. And again, for Pochettino, in the second half, when he made his first substitution was to take Harry Winks off.
Yeah.
And to put Lucas Moura on. Now, that meant
that was a wing and a prayer, Eamon. That was poor management. Now, I like Pochettino. I think he's done a big job at Spurs. But his management, I thought, was very, very poor. The picking that came for a start, and then the substitutions, when they came in, it was like, throw them on, and we'll see what happens. There didn't seem to be any sense about it, Like, if you go back to Ferguson at his best, the one thing about Fergie, and he used to call it Fergie time, I mean, he kept doing the right things. If he made a substitution, or even the way they played, keep playing right up to the last minute, keep playing. I think Pochettino threw the players on. Say, right, let's see what happens. There was no, actually, the shape got worse.
Yes,
when they were on, because Winks was the only midfield player they had who was playing in the middle of the field. So when Moura came on, I mean, where did he play?
He played deep, I would say, as a deep centre forward. Yeah,
well, only just, but he's not like he wasn't playing in any position. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was just get on there and we'll see what happens. That's the way I read it.
And the main thing he wanted to do was keep Harry Kane on the pitch, despite the evidence that he wasn't.
Exactly, it was get on there and we'll see what happens. There was no. I mean, the real logic I think would have been put more on take Harry Kane off.
Yeah.
Then you keep your balance and you keep your shape and you keep all the things that you should be doing right up to the last minute. And I think it was just a bit get on there and a bit of more of a panic situation, to be quite honest.
Now, Liverpool, by contrast, I mean, again, Firmino didn't touch the ball hardly in the period he was on for. He came off with 15, 20 minutes to go. Again, coming back from a groin injury, it's a very strange injury, a groin injury. You think you're fit, and then you're not, but you don't know until you get on the pitch, because there's an awful lot of things you can do with a groin until you go to the real stuff. But anyway, he changed. He took him off and he put Origi on. Who got the second goal. He also took Wijnaldum off and put James Milner on.
Yeah.
And Milner actually, I thought, calmed things down a bit. He's a great lad, a great leader. He's got great sort of. He always appears to be thinking, John Milner, when he's on the pitch, picking out the right pass, showing for the ball. Getting the tackle in. He's a very, very, very good player. And I thought the other player that was outstanding on the night was Van Dijk. The way he marshalled the defence, because Spurs did go at them, but the final passes were poor.
Yeah.
And you're right about Dele Alli. He has him and Eriksen. They haven't played at all in what has been, in some ways, a very respectable season for Spurs. Those two guys haven't really done it at all, have they?
No, not when it mattered, Damon. Like these are matches where you have to do a step up and up to the plate, as they say, and do it. I would have started Milner, Damon, to be quite honest. I'd have Milner before Henderson at any time. But anyway, that's by the way. And he has the experience. He has the bottle to get on the ball. He's an very experienced player now.
Yes.
But he's a player that you can depend on. He's not the most creative player in the world, but he has the character to get on the ball and make some things happen. Which he did. I felt sorry for Firmino, Eamon, because the way Liverpool played, I mean, players like Firmino are dependent on the supply.
Yes.
He was getting no supply, to be fair. He wasn't getting, I felt sorry for him in the particular match. Of course, Origi came on. I mean, Origi seems to be is done well when he has come on, Eamon. But, I think it was a good move because Firmino wasn't doing anything anyway. So there was actually sense in Klopp's substitutions.
Yeah.
There was no sense in Pochettino's substitutions. It was just a panic situation.
And he took a player he's very reliant on and has been for months, Sissoko, off as well. But
I think he got an injury. I think he did. Anyway,
I think he may have had an injury. Now, John, the future for both of those clubs. I mean, we can write Saturday off in terms of performances, but I do actually think it was the worst Liverpool played that I can remember this season. But I do feel that the psychological boost of winning this trophy, this big, big trophy, will be the makings of that team. I do feel that they've crossed a threshold psychologically that will make a huge difference to them.
Well, you can't beat winning, Eamon. But I don't quite agree with you with the psychological thing all the way, because the matches that they played in the league, Eamon, they had to win every match.
Yeah.
And they did it.
Yeah.
It's just that City were just as remarkable that won the matches. But when it comes to, when you go back to the match against Spurs in the league, the league match, that was a vital match for them that they had to win.
Yeah.
And they scored in the last minute, Eamon.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if the pressure gets to you, I think there was as much pressure on them in the league, week in and week out.
There was,
That's why I was surprised in the Championship. I know it's considered to be bigger, but it's still, these players were pressured week in and week out and responded in the right way. Now, they mightn't have scored, well, they did score early goals as well, but I was just surprised that they scored a goal early and shut up shop, more or less, stop playing.
Yeah, they did,
Well, anyway, it certainly, of course, it's a help when you win a major trophy.
Yeah.
But I think these players showed their character in the league run. That's why I was surprised on Saturday. I thought when they got the early goal, this is brilliant for them, because they're going to go at this Spurs team again.
Yeah, they could have ripped them apart.
To wipe them out, you know what I mean? And instead it was the opposite.
Yep.
Like they were kicking the ball out of play, they were kicking it long, they were doing things that they hadn't done all season. But in the end, as you say, from the Liverpool team and the supporters in particular, they won the Champions League. Now, if there has been pressure on them, Eamon, that's one way or the other. It has to be good when you win a major trophy like that.
Yeah,
but if they were suffering from the pressure, then for the long term, it should release whatever pressure that has been on them, having won this major trophy.
Well, I think there is, and because you've been there, there is a fear that's there in a big match like that. When you haven't pick the bloody trophy up, there is a fear that you'll always be the nearly man. And I think after the season Liverpool have had, it would have been a kind of crushing blow if Spurs beat them on Saturday night. And I think they knew that. I think for Klopp as well, who I think has done a fantastic job at Liverpool. I think he's a top manager. He won 2 Bundesliga, 2 German leagues with Dortmund, and also a German Cup. Dortmund were a selling club. They sold players. They sold Lewandowski. They sold Götze right from under him. He couldn't do the job there, but I think he's done a fantastic job at Liverpool. But again, if they hadn't won on Saturday, they'd be talking about him as a loser, as a guy who'd been to 7 finals, and they'd be questioning Liverpool, saying they won't catch Manchester City. It's a big, big burden to have to carry through a game like that. So I think it will change them.
It should change them, Eamon. The officers win the trophy, but they did it in the league as well. I think when you're there, we're year in and year out. I mean, I'm only going from my own angle. I mean, Leeds were known as a team. They should have won more trophies.
Yep.
We lost a few trophies before we actually won a trophy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But I don't ever remember the pressure that we have to win a trophy to stop you doing it, because there's only one way to do it, which is to play well under any pressure. It's great for Liverpool that they've won the trophy. Of course, it's a confidence booster, and it augurs well for the future for them. But I don't really subscribe to
right. Okay, let me ask you then.
As effective as it was on the night, you know.
As you raised it, let me ask you about Don Revie. Maybe the kind of failure to win as much as you should have won with that amazing team you played in was Don Revie and his fears, because he was fearful.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when we lost the trophies, particularly early on, we went runners up with a young team. Then when we matured, it didn't stop us from winning trophies. Don't forget, we lost a lot of trophies, but Don Revie finished up with 6 major trophies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but
do you know what I mean? He didn't. In other words, I don't think that when we won our first major, which was a League Cup, I didn't feel the pressure. We have to win this or we have to win that. You know, Just didn't. You just have to go and play and put the rest behind you. And in Liverpool's case, I think it has worked, and they've won the big trophy now. But I would say that on the weekend in the match that they won, I'd have to say I was disappointed in the way they played, and I'm taking the pressure into consideration.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, it's all's well that ends well, and from Liverpool supporters, I'm not running them down. I think Klopp has done a great job, and it has to be good for them to do it.
Now, let's look at Pochettino, John, because he's got a number of players. Alderweireld is one of them who wants to go. The Danny Rose, the left back, also wants to go. This is about really their salaries. Eriksen has indicated he wants to go. There's no sign that Harry Kane wants to go, but there's three players. You'd want Eric Dyer to go if you were a Spurs fan, I think. I think you would anyway, and I would. But he's got a decision to make now. He's still got a thin squad, hasn't he? You know, when you think of the options that were facing him, you shouldn't really have to play Harry Kane. You know, if they're a really big club, you know, you should have options. He's got a decision to make. And Daniel Levy, the man who runs that club and runs it in a very hands-on way, they've got big decisions to make, haven't they? Because they have set the bar for themselves, finished third in the Premier League, got to the Champions League final, and yet looks like they're going to lose players, and they're going to have to go into a market that's inflated. So I could see trouble there, John. Well,
definitely. I mean, he's punched way above his weight, Pochettino.
Yes.
There's no doubt. I think we were talking about it the other day, where somebody was writing in the paper that Levy was the hero.
Yeah, that's right. In the Sunday Times last week. Yeah.
You know, well, I don't think he was the hero anyway. I think he's done a good job as far as his job is to do, which is to get a winning team and not spend any money. That's great business. Yeah. But how long can it last? In Pochettino's case now, I mean, you know, he's punched way, way above his weight. He's got a thin squad. I think he's done remarkably well. And I think if he doesn't get assurances from Levy that he has to increase, because if you don't pay the money nowadays, I mean, the likes of Eriksen and these guys, they say, well, why am I playing for this club at such and such a rate? And Danny Rose raised it last year.
Yes.
Himself, he went public on it because the money that they were earning in relation to some of the big clubs was way, way down. I think they increased Harry Kane's wages. But Harry Kane was on 50 grand a week at one stage when he was in the England team and doing it. You know, all this carry on. And it's great for Levy if he can get away with it as a businessman. But unfortunately in football, nowadays, the players are much more independent than they ever were before. And they can say, oh, look, I'll let my contract run out. Unless I get the money, I'm going to let my contract run out. And that's a position that Pochettino has no control over now. And in Pochettino's case, there was a while ago where it looked like the Real Madrid job was available and it looked like the Manchester United job was available. Now, it looks like those two jobs are tied up. So, if you look at the moment, unless he goes to Juventus or somewhere, there's no club bigger than Spurs that he can go to.
Actually, there is, but he says he won't ever take the job. Barcelona have just sacked their coach,
right?
Valverde, but he played for Espanyol, who are the second team in Barcelona. He says he won't go there. Just an interesting figure that I rooted out yesterday, and it is an interesting figure, John. In the last 2 seasons, Spurs have spent 385 million net, which is the same as Newcastle United on players. Yeah. So that tells you, it gives you some measure of the job Pochettino has done with with that group of players, basically, that he inherited.
Yeah. He's done remarkably well, and it's just this: where can he go? You see now, you know, where can he go that's better than Spurs? I think he was making sounds a few weeks ago.
He was,
towards Real Madrid, and I think he was making sounds towards Manchester United. It looks like those jobs are not available now. So where can he go? You know, if he doesn't want to go to Barcelona, for example, and I think that might change, Eamon. You know, despite the fact, he had an allegiance to a team that was there. But really, when it comes to his future, that could go out the window and take the Barcelona job. To be honest, I mean, if I was advising him, I would say, what you've done at Spurs is great. Get on your way now.
Right.
Unless he's getting 2 or 3 100 million to increase that squad, which I don't think is going to happen.
And by the way, John, with all the top clubs in Europe desperately looking for players and splashing money out, 200 or 300 million might get you in the door. Just a final point. While we were watching the match, and of course I was talking to you about it while it was going on, one man kept popping up in my mind, and I thought he'd be tearing his hair out, what's left of it, and that is your hero Pep Guardiola. I'd say Guardiola was sitting there watching that on Saturday night, John, and thinking, boy, we should be there, and if we were there, we'd eat these teams alive.
Well, the thing is, Eamon, he wasn't there.
I know
he had the same chance as everybody else. If I was him, it would give me encouragement, Eamon.
Yes.
To say, well, if they can win it in the way the match was, which wasn't a good display by anybody, then it would give him more confidence to say, well, we definitely can do it.
Yeah.
But
they have to get some defenders, John.
I'd say he'd be okay. He's had a great season, really. Eamon.
Oh, he has, of course.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Liverpool have got a trophy that they deserve to get in the season that they had. The run that they made in the league, like I don't think it's the first time in history that did what they did.
Yes.
And not win it.
97,
so I think the way
97 points, finished second.
City doing what they did and Liverpool did, because they've made a remarkable season between the two of them. And both of them deserve the trophies they won.
Yeah, and it's been a thrilling and memorable season.
Yes.
Okay, John.
And it's great for your podcast.
Especially if we have the odd fight. No, that's great, John. I'm very grateful to you for talking to us today. And we look forward to talking to you again. I actually would like to just say a final thing to you, that I think this win will make Liverpool favourites to win the Premier League next year. I think they will go out and smash all kinds of records, including Manchester City. Well, they'll take Pep on the way, but that's just something that you can remind me of in 6 months' time.
I'm going to keep a copy of this podcast.
Okay, John.
12 months' time.
Okay.